But that's what he does now. And here's a guy, this guy could have retired 20 years ago, you know? He works because he likes what he does, you know? And he, you know, so now he runs this company, and it's like a completely different thing. Like when you guys had sent that picture around me, I couldn't believe that, like, that's what he was doing. But that's the kind of guy he is. And it's funny, Stephanie Shalowski, who's the VP of production, who was really like his right hand through all these years, she runs now, did anybody know? Anybody seen that? It's called the Organizing Zone. That she's a professional organizer, and I honestly cannot think of a better job for her. Because that's another thing, like the way the schedules were broken down, these detailed, super detailed Excel files, and that's something that's also made its way into other aspects of production, things that I've worked on, things that Tim and I work on over at DuArt. You know, it's, but she runs the Organizing Zone now, and she's another person who, like, clearly doesn't need to work, could retire, but she wants to do it because she just wants to keep busy, and she just, you know, she likes the challenge of things like that, because that's what her job was at CPM all the time. She's presented with a giant mess and had to clean it up. There's nobody better.
Does she still have the option with her new company to reduce grown men to tears?
You know, I'll bet you she does. Why? Did she ever do that to you?
Not me, but I saw a few.
Yeah, she was tough as nails. And I like the show Malcolm in the Middle. I could never watch that show because she looks so much like Jane Kasmerick. Like you know, every time, you know, Malcolm's mom would just start ripping into him, I would just be like, ah! Like I would hear Stephanie yelling at somebody. You know, not at me because I remembered to report of her friends in college. So that was my get out of jail free card. But did any of you guys have any questions about anything Center Park Media related, or any stories, or anything like that?
I do. I've done publishing. I had the pleasure of working with Mossy, and I just want to say, you know, let's give her a lot of credit, because John is primarily the forefront, but she definitely held the back. And I remember going to her office for Be Beautiful. She was dedicated. She loved her stuff. And it was her baby.
Yeah, it was.
Be Beautiful, got into that whole exercise world. I was heartbroken because this was her baby. We owe a debt of gratitude to Masumi for bringing more of the hardcore titles to America. She dared to do it.
Yeah, Masumi was really cool. She was a great woman, very just brilliant and dedicated. You know. Anybody else? Center Park Media stuff? Yeah. Mike Hackney and Jim Malone worked for Taj. Taj Productions was a recording studio in the city, and they worked there. Mike was, I guess, like a producer, and I think he may have had a piece of the company, and Jim was like an engineer. And so some of the early dubs that we did were sent to Taj, like early Slayers, Oots, and things like that, and Mike and Jim worked on those before they ended up going to 4Kids. Awesome.
Well, my boss and CFO used to work at Central Park Media.
John Cirabella.
Yeah, John Cirabella and Andy Vidal, they both used to work at Central Park Media, and then they went off and started their own company. But actually, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
A little?
Yeah.
A little?
Yeah, well, they were originally software sculptors, which got bought out by Central Park Media until John Cirabella couldn't deal with working with John O'Donnell anymore, and so he went off and formed Media Blasters.
Well, see, here's the thing about when John wants to fire you, he won't fire you because he doesn't want to pay the severance. So, what he will do,
listen, man, honestly,
he will micromanage you until you want to slit your throat.
I just think
that's awesome.
I think that maybe that's the way that you felt, but it's not the way that I felt.
I saw him do it to Rich Goffman.
Goffman, he got himself out of a job. He was head of sales for one of these guys, and he wasn't one of the guys who was dishonest. He was just somebody who was a little more stupid. Yeah, he's the dude who sent us to the porn convention. Spent thousands and thousands.
He wanted to call now and then, here and there.
Future hell. Yeah, future hell. Yeah. So, which is where, you know, because I
all openly mocking him at that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, a character that I sort of developed is Dick Tripwire, who would be my hentai alias, you know, as a production guy. And I had the show that maybe you've seen at other conventions. And one of the things is the behind-the-scenes show, which is called Future Tentacle Demon Hell Beast Part 6: The Final Battle, which is because of the future hell. I kind of had to put that in there. Anybody else have a question about something? Yeah, you over there.
I love you guys. so easygoing.
Someone brought it to Tomino to sign.
Oh my God! Listen, I have met Tomino before. We've met him, yeah, and they were like, "Do not talk about Garzi's winning," you know. And that show is screwed up in its original form. Okay, so we can't completely take the blame for that, but I do have to say that was produced before I ever got there. But you know, sometimes, especially like in the early days of dubbing and stuff, they're like, "What? You got a recording studio? Here, make a cartoon," and that's kind of what you got. And that's like what actually became my mission because I was hired as a DVD producer, but by the end of that year, I was producing all the dubs, and I replaced that guy to try, because like, some of that stuff was terrible, it was unwatchable.
No, Garzi's swing was watchable. That's so hilarious.
And you know what? That kind of made it over the bell curve of terrible into funny. You know? Yeah, that's that one. Like Indie Guys, those are ones that you'll see when they do like an anime hell or like the Mystery Science Theater with bad anime.
Yeah.
Like, those are really good ones to use for that. But yeah, Garzi's swing was a mess. I wasn't involved in it, but I'm sorry anyway. Anybody else? That's what I'm saying. Things like that. Feel free, because we couldn't talk about this stuff before. I can talk about it now.
I'm so deep that somehow befriended several people that used to work for CPM, and I've heard all these wonderful stories. And I just gotta say, I still have a good level of adoration for the company, because you got a company, a small-ass company in New York City at the start of everything, and they licensed NB Guys, they had Haruki Doji, and then they had Brave of the Firefly. And
Yes.
just having like that sort of thing just amazes me.
Yeah, Brave of the Fireflies is one of. I mean, they sent for the special edition DVD. They sent me and Tim to Chicago to interview Roger Ebert. It's one of his favorite films. Not one of his favorite anime films. It's one of his favorite films.
I'm still bitter I didn't get to go.
You know, but that was a fun trip. That was really cool. And let me tell you, I mean, yeah, that was something that, you know, Central Park Media was a major pioneer with this. Anime would not be where it is in this country today had they not, you know, I think started to pave the path. And then companies like Media Blasters sprung off of that, and then they started leading a charge, and then, you know, other companies and other companies. But yeah, there's I mean, you know.
You know the Brave of the Fireflies, those running storyboards? He scanned an entire book of storyboards and animated it to put it together. So you can thank Justin for those running storyboards.
Yeah. And let me tell you, and that was one of the things I was saying early on about how they had said to me, well, this isn't necessarily really a creative job. And guys like us were like, well, you know what, we beg to differ. Because when you put that level of creativity and yourself in there, you got so much of a better product. I mean, we did behind-the-scenes features for some of these dubs that were, some were humorous, some were serious. We started doing more expansive art galleries, the picture-in-picture with the storyboards when we had the chance. I mean, anything we could get on these things to just up the value of it, you know, because that was the thing. It's like, this isn't just a VHS tape or a Laserdisc anymore. You know, we have the capacity to do all these other things, and we wanted to do them. And that was like where us as a creative team, because this is the thing, I really feel like, because this company was around, if you count up to this year, for about 19 years. But this was like the golden era, man. You know, starting like late 90s, 2000, going up until like, you know, 2003, things started to slide with the industry. But I mean, hey, listen, and then this is us patting each other on the back, or me patting us all on the back. I think we did some really good work in that time, you know, that I'm really proud of. Yeah, and some of these titles are still available, and other companies are picking them up. Things like Now and Then, Here and There, that was brought up. ADV picked that up. It's the best damn thing I've ever seen. You know, Brave of the Fireflies, they also got that. Slayers is still kicking around out there. Utena, Funimation has Slayers, yeah?
No, it's not.
No, but no, somebody, I'm telling you, somebody's going to have to pick that up.
It's complicated, I'll tell you later.
Okay, well, yeah, I remember how complicated it was to get just the second and third seasons done, but Ping Pong Club, sure. Somebody needs to put that on TV. Somebody needs to put that up. And you know what else? Armored Trooper Photons never got their due, but you know what? I thought that show was great.
Yeah.
You know, and with what Kim did to the opening Nender thing.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, like, I thought that show was so just deep and interesting, but nobody here gave a shit to the point that we would record that in English and really